Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to share with you how to create a cover page in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, after you open Adobe Photoshop application, here at the menu bar you click File, click New. Okay, so this is how to set up your canvas in Adobe Photoshop. For example, if you want to create a cover page for a long size bond paper, you can set your width to 8.5 and then your height to 13. You can type here. If you want short, you can type 11. If you want long, you can type 13. Okay, then make sure that the unit of measurement you're going to use is in inches and the resolution for 300 pixels per inch. So this is used for print. Here at the untitled, you can type here cover page. Okay, here at the untitled, you can type cover page as assigned name to your Photoshop document. Okay, so meaning this is your file name. If you are going to retrieve your existing file, save. Okay, so now here is RGB, that means red, green, and blue. 8-bit, and the background is white. Okay, this time you can click create. Okay, so here, these are the toolbars in Photoshop. So you can, if you cannot see the toolbars, here you can click the window, and then here at the bottom, here you can click this arrow. For example, if you're going to check these tools, to uncheck here, this time you are already hiding the toolbar. So to restore back, you can click the window and then tools. Okay, and here above, this is the options bar. So in every tool that you're going to select on the toolbar, you can see the options for here at the options bar. For instance, this is the options bar for the text, meaning you can change the font face or the font style, the size of the text, and the color of the text here. Here, if you cannot see the layer, to restore back the layer, click the window and then select the layers. Okay, layers actually is F7. You can see here, layers. That is very important in working Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so click here, layers, meaning to display the layers palette. So in every graphics or text that you're going to insert on the canvas, you can view it on a layer. So to view on the layer, the topmost layer will display if all the layers are overlap or stacking graphics. Okay, so to hide, that's F7 shortcut key on the function keys. When you press F7 on the keyboard, it will hide. When you press F7 again, it will restore back the layer. Okay, so this time let us start working with how to insert text in Photoshop. Okay, so here at the toolbar, you can see this T icon, that is how to insert horizontal type text. To display the hidden tools, you can right click and then select the tool you are going to use. Okay, for instance, you're going to type text horizontally, you choose horizontal type tool. Click this one once, move your mouse pointer to the canvas, and then click OK. An I-beam actually is an indicator that you can now insert text on the canvas. Okay, so this time you can now type text. So your heading is the name of school. Okay, to change the font size, font style of the text, you can simply highlight by simply dragging your mouse button, left mouse button, and then you can select here at the options bar. Here you can change to 60 to increase the size of the text. You can also decrease the size of the text by selecting the size of the text in point. Okay, to change the, once it is highlighted, you can actually change here if you want italic, if you want boldface here. So if you want to change the font style, you can click here on the arrow and then you can select, for example, this one or any text you like or you want for your design. For example, this one, you click this one if you want this type of text. So the size of the text is this one, 40, 60 for instance. Okay, to change the color of the text is this one. Click here, and then for example you want this color, you select here, and then select one of the options here. When you click here, it changes to that active color, this new color. Okay, so if you want, click here, light pink. Okay, so for example, you want blue and this dark blue here, click OK. That's how to change the color of the text, and then you click OK. If you are already satisfied with the color of the text, you click OK. Okay, this time the text is not centered on your canvas, so you can simply click this check button to accept this one. Okay, so this time you can now use the move tool. Move your mouse pointer, select this move tool. This tool is used to move text or graphics on the screen, meaning you can move text or images you inserted on your screen. So click this move tool, and this time you make sure that the layer selected is the one you're going to move. Okay, so here you can point on the text and then you can drag to move to the center of your screen, and it will display a vertical line indicating that you have already centered the text exactly on the canvas. So another way to design your text is, for instance, you're going to edit the text. For instance, you have accidentally spelled the word when you type. You can double click. If you want to edit the text, you can double click the T. Okay, so this time you can now type text you want to edit. Okay, so for example, that one, and then you click check button to accept. Okay, you can now move the text on the screen because the active tool is move. Okay, this time another way to change the size of the text, you can press Ctrl T on the keyboard. You hold down the control on your keyboard and then press letter T. Okay, it will display sizing handles on the side, so you can now resize the text by simply holding down the shift to retain the proportion. Here you can drag here, and you can reposition to move the text. Okay, and then enter. Okay, so to design your text, you can right click, then blending options, and then you can add stroke. You can move this window so that you can view your text, and then you can insert a stroke. Any layer style seal you can apply to pictures or text. You can simply experiment all of these layer styles. Okay, so for instance, you want to add a stroke on your text. You can click the stroke, the word stroke, not the box here. Then you can change the color of stroke. For instance, you can select a color and then click OK. You can change the thickness of stroke. Here you can type 5 for instance, or you can simply drag the slider to increase the size or the thickness of your stroke. So if you are satisfied with that, you can simply click OK. For instance, again, if you want to change the color of the text and if you want a gradient fill, you can simply do the same. You can right click on the name of the layer you want to edit and then blending options, and then you can move this window by simply dragging at the top, and then you can select gradient. For instance, gradient overlay, if you want to apply gradient overlay. Okay, and then you can customize the color of the overlay, and you can change the angle. For instance, you type here 120, then you can customize the color by simply clicking here and at the color box here, click, and then select the colors you want to apply on the text. Okay, for instance, you want to remove one color or to change one color. For example, you want to change this blue color. This tab and then select the color here. Then for example, you want to select a color here, and then select a color and then click OK. So for instance, you can adjust the color by simply dragging tabs, and then you can delete one of the color. If you want 3 colors only, you can remove one color. For instance, you want to remove this one, you can click here and then you can click delete. Okay, you have already 3 colors, and then click OK. So if you want to restore back to 90 degrees, okay, and then click. You can also select here for the style if you want radial, if you want angle, reflected. Okay, so restore back to linear and then Click OK if you're satisfied with the color. For instance, you want to edit again the stroke color. Since you have already applied the stroke, you can double click this stroke on the layer, double click this one, and then you can change the color of the stroke. For instance, click the color, and then you want dark color here you want gray, click OK, and then click OK here. Okay, so that's how to apply color, and you can move. Okay, so to add pictures on your canvas, you can select here and browse for a picture you want to add. For instance, you want this background, you can drag, and then do not release your mouse, put on your canvas, release. Okay, so you can move the picture. Since you can move the picture by dragging, and then you can press check to accept. So since to rearrange the layer, you can simply drag down the background. Okay, so if you want to add another picture, you can simply browse. For example, you want to add this picture, drag it to the canvas, do not release, and then release on the canvas your mouse. Okay, for instance here, and resize the picture. You can hold down the Alt to automatically center the picture, Alt and Shift on the keyboard. Enter. For example, this one you can Control T to resize. You can fill all the space on the canvas, and then press enter on the keyboard, and then you can use the eraser tool, and make sure you have click this picture and then rasterize. And now you can press this right bracket or right curly brace or close curly brace. You can now erase by simply, if you want to change the options for the eraser, you can click this one and you can click here, double click, and then you can decrease the size of the eraser by pressing the open curly brace, and then you can now brush. You make sure that the layer you have selected is the one you are going to erase. Okay, so if you want to add your picture, you can browse, drag the picture to your canvas, release. Okay, for instance, you resize this one. To edit the picture, you can right click, rasterize, and then you can use this rectangular marquee tool to maximize your time erasing the background. You can click this rectangular marquee tool. You make sure that the layer you want to erase is you have selected here, and then you can highlight the portions you're going to erase, and then press delete on the keyboard. Delete here. You can highlight the portion you want to erase and delete. Highlight. Make sure these are actually the marching ants or the selection. Okay, so anything that is inside the selection will be deleted when once you press delete on the keyboard. Delete. Okay, hold down the control and then press letter D to remove the selection. Okay, this time you can remove similar color by simply right clicking and then use the quick selection tool. Click this one, then click the portion you want to select, hold and drag your left mouse button here, so anything that is inside the selection will be deleted once you press delete on the keyboard. So this portion is selected, so you're going to subtract this one to the selection. subtract, highlight, subtract this portion. Okay, here. Then add this portion here. Click plus and then highlight here. Okay, so you have already selected the background you're going to remove. This time you can press delete on the keyboard. Delete. Okay, then press Ctrl D to deselect. Okay, so that's how to remove background if your background has similar color. So can you press Ctrl minus? Okay, then you can click the move tool to reposition where you want to put the picture. Here you can resize the picture by pressing Ctrl T on the keyboard, and then you can resize. Hold down the shift to retain the proportion, and then press enter or click the check. Okay, so then you type here the heading, your name here, and then the name of the teacher. Okay, so this is how to create a cover page in Photoshop. Thank you so much for watching.